Okay, so we're solving systems of linear equations. This is day 3, and we are looking at solving by elimination. Okay, so when we're eliminating, what we're doing is we're getting rid of one of the two variables because our solving techniques are only good for one variable at a time. So what we want to do is we want to get one variable to go away. So we either want them to have opposite coefficients like we do here, 1 and -1 are opposites, right? Or we want them to have the same coefficient. Okay? If they have opposite coefficients, we add the two equations together. If they have the same, we'll subtract. Okay, so 1x plus -1x is 0. Okay? And then -3 plus 2 is -1y. 2 plus -3 is -1. So I have -1y equals -1. So I divide both sides by -1, and I know that y equals 1. Halfway there, I have to know what x equals. So I choose one of my two original equations to substitute into. I'm just going to pick the top one because it's easy. So x minus 3 times 1 equals 2. X minus 3 equals 2. Right? So I add the 3 to both sides and find out that x equals 5. So my solution is the coordinate 5, 1. Okay. So looking at the second, I see 4 and 3, they're not the same or opposite. -1 plus 1, they're the same. So I don't have to make any changes. I'm just going to add these two equations together. 4 plus 3 gives me 7x. -y plus +y is 0. And 5 plus 9 is 14. So I know that 7x equals 14. Divide both sides by 7, and x equals 2. Right? So then I want to substitute the 2 back in for one of my x's. I'm going to choose the second equation, so 3 times 2 plus y equals 9. Now I'm going to leave it for you to solve for y. Okay, so you know that your final answer is going to be 2, comma, and then some other number y. All right. Number 3 is very similar to these. You have the opposites here, so you're going to add them and then continue solving. All right, when we get down here to number 4, though, we see that these are not opposites and they are not the same, so we have to force them to be the same. Okay? So what we're looking for is the least common multiple of 3 and 2 or of 4 and 5. We get to pick. 2 and 3 are smaller, so I pick 2 and 3. Okay, so for 2, we know the multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6, 8, so on. And 3 is 3, 6, 9, and so on. So I see that 6 is the common multiple. So I want this to change into a 6. So to change a 3 into the 6, I've got to multiply by 2. And to change the 2 into a 6, I've got to multiply by 3. Okay. So I take my first equation and multiply the whole thing times 2. And I get 6x plus 8y equals -2. Then I multiply the second equation by 3, and I'm a little out of space, so I'm not going to write it out like that. So 3 times -2x is -6x. 3 times -5 is -15. And then 3 times 10 is 30. So when I add these together, I'm going to have that 6 plus -6 is 0. 8 plus -15 is -7. And -2 plus 30 is 28. So then I divide both sides by -7 and get that y equals -4. So now I want to substitute into one of my original equations. I'm going to choose the second equation, just because I can. So 2x minus 5 times negative 4 equals 10. And then I want to solve this equation. Okay. Due to my lack of space, I'm not going to show all the steps. I would probably just use my calculator at this point and use my insolver. But negative 5 times negative 4 is 20, so I'd subtract 20. That would give me negative 10, and divide by 2 is negative 5. Okay, so x would equal negative 5. So my solution for this system is the point negative 5, negative 4. Okay. All right, let's look at the next set. Negative 5 and 2, 12 and 8. Okay, so I want to pick the least common multiple between one of these sets. Well, 2 and 5 don't have anything in common, but I know 8 and 12, they're both even. They may be easier to do. So I'm just going to write that down. 8 is then 16, then what, 30, 24. Oh, I know that 12 times 2 is 24, right? Because right, 12 and then 24. So 24 is going to be the least common multiple. All right, so to make 12 into 24, I had to multiply by 2. So this top equation is going to get multiplied by 2. And to get 8 to turn into 24, I had to multiply by 3. So this second equation is going to get multiplied by 3. All right, so my new equations would be negative 10x plus 24y equals 16. And the second one would be 6x minus 24y equals 0. And then I'd be ready to add them together. All right, and I'm going to leave that for you to finish up there. All right, and then here on number 6, I don't know, let's eliminate the x, okay, because neither of our sets of coefficients are the same or opposite. And so I'm just going to pick negative 10 and 15 to make the same. I know that 10, it's 10, 20, 30, and for 15, it goes 15, and then 30 would be the next. So 30 is their common multiple. To turn 10 into 30, I had to multiply by 3. And to turn 15 into 30, I had to multiply by 2. Okay, so that's going to give me negative 30x plus 9y equals negative 90. If we take the 2 and we multiply it times 15, we get positive 30x. 2 times negative 8 is negative 16y. And then 2 times 45 is 90. And because they're opposites, we're going to add these together. But I'll let you take that from there. Okay, you and your friend are buying throw blankets with your names embroidered on them. The cost of the throw blanket is X dollars, and the cost of each embroidered letter is Y dollars. Your name has 6 letters, and the total cost is $29. Your friend's name has 3 letters, and the total cost is $24.50. Find the cost of the throw blanket and the cost of each embroidered letter. Okay, so X, right, was the cost of the blanket, and Y was the cost of each letter. That's what we're trying to find out. What's X and what's Y? Okay, so my blanket cost me $29, and I have 6 letters. So I had to pay for the blanket and then 6 letters, and I spent $29. And then my friend had to buy the blanket, but she only had 3 letters in her name. So 3 times Y. And then she only had to spend $24.50. Okay, so I'm looking here as far as solving goes. If I solve by elimination, these coefficients are the same, so I would want to subtract this equation. So x take away x is 0, so I don't have to worry about x anymore. 6 take away 3 is 3y, and 29 take away 24.50 is going to be 450. Then we would divide by 3. And we know that each letter is $1.50. Okay, so I'm going to leave you to figure out how much the blanket cost. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and label that $1.50 per letter. And X, when you find it, will be the cost of the blanket. Okay, number 8. Describe and correct the error in solving for one of the variables in the linear system. Okay, so they wrote down the 2 equations here, and then they said multiply by 2. I noticed this 2x minus 4y isn't down here, so I think they must have multiplied that by 2. Let's see, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 9 is 18. Yes, that's what they did there. Okay, and so I know that since these are the same, they should be subtracting these. 4 take away 4 is 0. That was a positive 5, so 5 take away negative 8. Oh, that wouldn't be negative 3, would it? Okay, so that's where they made their mistake. Negative 5 take away negative 8 would actually be positive 3y. Oh, I beg your pardon. That's a plus, or it's a plus. So positive 5 minus a negative would be positive 13y. And this would, let's see, negative 10 minus 18 would be negative 38. And then we would divide by 13, so y would be negative 38 over 13. All right. Make sure you go back and finish those problems we didn't get finished, and then have your paper ready to turn in.